The design view is useful for setting the table structure and the properties of its fields. In this view, you can set field names, their data types, and other supplementary properties. To create a new table directly in the design view, you would use the Table Design button in the Create menu. If the table has already been created and opened, you can simply switch to the design view. In this lesson, you will examine and try setting some additional properties for basic field types. The opened database my.accdb contains a products table that was created in the Datasheet view. You will display the table in the Design view and edit it, taking advantage of the possibilities offered by this view. To change the view of the displayed table, you can, for example, use the View button on the Home tab. The picture that you can see in the upper part of the button represents the view that you can switch to by clicking on the button. If you expanded the View button menu by clicking the lower part of it, other possible views would also appear. We shall not be using these for now. The display method used for an opened object can also be changed by utilizing the buttons at the end of the status bar. On the Home tab, click on the View button. In the Design view, the table window is divided into two parts. In the first column of the upper part of the window are the field names of the created table in a row below each other. In the second column, you can find their data types defined. Here you can also modify the name of a field that has already been created or change its data type. By clicking a table row, you can select a field, the properties of which can then be changed. You can also define the name and the data type of a new field in this manner. In the lower part of the window, there is a design grid that shows the properties of the fields selected in the upper part of the window. In the bottom right corner of the window, there is an information box that displays help concerning the properties of the row that is currently active in the design grid. More detailed information can be found in the Access Help window that can be opened, for example, by using the F1 key. In the design grid, click the Caption row and read the content of the informative part of the window. In the upper part of the table window, the ID field of the set auto-number data type has been selected. In the lower part of the design grid, you can view the additional properties of this field: field size, long integer, and new values increment. This is the default setting for this data type. The auto number serves for unambiguous identification of records that have been entered in a table. Its default setting also provides serial numbers for the records. Click behind Long Integer. Expand the menu of this row. The replication ID is an automatically generated long random number. We do not recommend the common use of this option. Click outside the menu. Click behind Increment. Expand the menu of this row. The common use of the random option is also not recommended. Close the menu by clicking outside it. A caption is a common feature that you can find in the design grid of all fields, irrespective of their data type. A caption is a text that is displayed, for example, in the column heading of the Datasheet view. If the caption property has not been set, the field name is always used as the caption. In this instance, the caption row in the design grid of the selected field is empty. In the simplified database that you will be working with in the next lessons, long, usually compound names are used for better orientation. Practically, this would be rather unwieldy. It is useful to keep the field names short and without spaces. For example, prod name. The correct text, product name, is then entered into the caption property. The simplified field names are utilized because they are easier to work with in calculations. Click the caption row. Type product number. Click on the View button and then on Yes. Look at the caption of the first field and click on the View button. The field name remains ID in the design view, but in the datasheet view, the caption product number has appeared in the column header. Before you leave the ID field, notice the icon to the left of the field name. By default, the field has been defined as what is called a primary key. If you set a specific field in a table as the primary key, its index property is automatically set to Yes, no duplicates. The field will also be required. That is, a value must be entered into this field in every record. The index property set to Yes, no duplicates also corresponds to the unique option that you set in the product name field in the datasheet view. A field tagged as primary key is used for the unique identification of the table's records, and it is often used as a linking field between tables. Access also processes tables that have their primary key defined much more effectively. Field indexing, whether with duplicates enabled or not, is often used for fields in which a value is searched frequently or the values of which are often used for sorting the table. The field index significantly speeds up these activities. On the other hand, indexing is not suitable for those fields in which the values tend to change frequently. In these cases, the index slows down the work. A primary key can be created from a selected field by clicking on the Primary Key button that can be found on the Table Tools Design tab in the Tools group. You can use the same button to disable the primary key setting. When creating your own table designs, you do not have to create nor use the ID field that the application has created automatically when setting up the blank table in the datasheet view. If there is such a field in the table, you can subsequently remove it. However, this is recommended only in the event that there is another required field in the table with data without duplicates that can be used as a primary key. Click the Product Name field. The text data type has a default field size of 255 characters. This is also the maximum permitted size for this data type. The maximum field length can be decreased by entering a number into the field size row. In the product name field, you could again use the caption property. We will not be using captions anymore in our table. In the Format row of the design grid, you can choose the manner in which the value of the edited field will be displayed. For example, in the product name field design, you could use the less than character to convert all the letters of the text to lowercase. The greater than character could be used to convert all the letters to uppercase. The input mask property determines which characters and in what number must or may be entered into a field. A mask is set up from wildcards, an overview of which can be found in the Input Mask Help topic. The overview also contains examples of their usage. You will now set up an input mask for the supplier code field that is also of the text type. Click the Supplier Code field. Click the Input Mask row. Type greater than L000 less than, question mark, question mark, question mark. According to the entered mask, the code has to begin with a letter that will be converted to uppercase. 3 mandatory ciphers must then be entered, and following these 3 optional letters which will be converted to lowercase. If the mask is used, it is not necessary to set the required option to yes. The mask inserts special characters into the field, and the field is thus always considered to be completed. We have closed the Help window again for you. Another attribute that is included in most field types is the default value. Click the Order field name. The default value of 0 is set in the field of the Yes/No type. It has the meaning of no. You have already examined the field size property for a field of the text type. Take a look at the options offered for the number data type. Click the Unit Price row. In the Design grid, expand the menu by clicking at the end of the Field Size row. There are 3 sizes of integers available: byte, integer, and long integer. The byte field size is intended for use with integers ranging in size from 0 to 255. Integer is used for integers ranging from -32,768 to 32,767. Long integer is used for numbers with an even greater absolute value. The decimal, single, and double sizes are used for decimal numbers. When the field size row is active, you can read detailed information concerning the individual options for such numbers in Help, opened using the F1 key. Once again, select Long Integer. The format property of the selected field has already been set to currency euro in the datasheet view. For fields of the number type, and even for data of the date/time type, validation rules are frequently set. Validation rules restrict the input values that can be inserted. By using these, you can significantly reduce the quantity of incorrect data entered by a user. If a value not corresponding to the validation rules is inserted into the field, the validation text appears in a dialog box. Only comparison and logical operators can be used in a validation rule. Again, the options for creating the rules can be found in Help. There you would find, for example, the information that a date in a validation rule must be entered between 2 £sign characters. In the validation rule row, type greater than 0 and less than 100. In the validation text row, type value must be lower than 100. Now take a look at the format options for the fields of the date/time type. Click in the Data Filed field row. In the Design grid, expand the menu at the end of the Format row. Go through the menu and select Medium Date. You will now try out the properties set in the datasheet view. Click the View button. Click Yes to when changing some properties, for example, the validation rule, it is possible to check whether the previously inserted data comply with the new setting. Click No. Click in the 4th row of the product name field and press Tab twice. Type 1. A mask has been set in the supplier code field. The lowercase d at the beginning of the text has changed to an uppercase D in accordance with the set mask, while the letters ABC have changed to lowercase. It is not possible to enter the letter D at the end of the text because the mask set does not permit it. Press Enter. Type 1000 into the unit price field and press Enter. The number that you have entered is too large. The application has displayed the validation text. Click OK. Erase 2 zeros. Click Data Filed. Click the calendar icon at the end of the item and select Today. Press Enter. The record cannot be saved since the required product name field has not been filled in. If you persisted in saving it, the table would be saved without this record. Click OK and click the Save button. In this lesson, you have learned about additional field properties. You have entered them in the Table Design view.